Welcome to game number 2. And what we're going to do, a couple things. Yeah, more than a couple things actually. We're going to take these barriers and make them move. The vertical barrier will go up and down. The horizontal barrier will go back and forth and bounce off the edges. And since they're sort of going independently, when they touch, we're going to have them disappear. And we'll put a little sign up that says, hey, go, 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 you got 5 seconds, or whatever we decide, and then the fox can run up to the star and everything will be fine. So you'll remember this from the first game, so we need to now take this to change it. So the first thing we need to do is to do File and Save as a copy. Now, what that means is that you now have 2 projects in your My Stuff. And let's change this to my second game. Actually, I don't like spaces and things, so I'm going to remove the spaces. And when you don't have any spaces and you do caps for each word, it's Camel Case is the name of it. So that's kind of neat name. I don't know where the W came from. I must have hit it by accident. Okay, so we have this set. So now it will, in fact, if you want, maybe because of the problems we've been having with the Chromebooks, probably a good idea to say Save Now. But it normally saves everything you do. Okay, so first thing we need to do is to get rid of these barriers because we're going to make barrier sprites. Now, the stage is in fact a sprite, but they can't move it. See, look at the scripts, motion. No blocks. So the stage is a fixed sprite, but we want a moving sprite. So first of all, let's look at the backdrops, and we can get rid of, we're looking at this one. All we have to do is hit clear up here, boom, and they're gone. And let's rename it instead of barriers. You could put nothing. How about clear? Yeah, that's good. All right. So we have that. Now we need to make a couple sprites. So we've got a lot of choices here, but this is the only way you can paint it. You paint it and you go to the paint editor. Now you might notice a little square in here, but let's make it bigger so we can see it. 400%. Let's grab the line tool and we'll move this in the middle somewhere so it's reasonable size. And we're going to go right here. Let's do a vertical one first. And you hold the shift key down and you come down here and you got a vertical character here. That's big enough, sure. Okay, and hit escape to get out. I don't really need to do that, but anyway, go over here, paint new sprite. Let's do another one. We're going to make, notice it did save some changes there. How about that? Now we're going to do a horizontal one. Keep some of the same thing, but we have to hit the line tool. Don't forget that. Okay, and we'll start here, shift and drag it across. That's good enough. Okay, hit escape. I always do that to get out. Now we got a couple of these guys. So now we have to do some scripts. And what I want to do, we saved again. Boy, it's going well. Let's start over here with the vertical one. And we should name it. So how about V-bar? B-A-R for barrier. We're finished with that. Let's do this one, which is H-bar. H-B-A-R. And I like to capitalize the names of them too, so that's good. Okay. Now, we're going to be moving both of these. So what I'd like to do is do what we're going to call our standard setup. And that means we start with a event block, and we then build 3 blocks at least. Okay, you know them, right? Setup, boom, and remember you have the define where you put all the action, and then this is the one that triggers it, and we'll set it here. And then we know we're going to have a forever loop, and it's going to sit right here. And we're going to make some more blocks. So let's make, by the way, next time, after setup, we're going to need a reset block, R-E-S-E-T, because when something happens, you want to reset, but you don't want to go completely back to the beginning, the original setup. And this an action block, and somewhere in setup we will also do reset, but you're going to use reset in a lot of other places too. So we need to make one more block that I think we will know will move is, oh, this is okay. Oh, the next one, I'm sorry, move, M-O-V-E. And there we go, and we'll define move here. So we always have the move block, and the move will be in here. Now, let's just call this our standard setup. And one of the neat things you can do, it turns out, is if you have this for one script, you can then move this to other scripts. So let's move this to the H bar. And if you look at the H bar, guess what? Hey, you got it. Now, go back to the V bar, and let's move this setup. Just all I have to do is drag over and let go. And it's right up here. So let's put it over here. And let's go back, and you have to do them one at a time, unfortunately, but that's, yeah, I don't know, is that any faster? I suppose it is. And check that, move this over to where we want. And go back, do it again. Define move. Okay, so we've got H bar pretty well taken care of here. Now, see, I also recommend we sort of learn to put these in the same places so we'll know where to look. So when I look at your stuff or you look at mine, you'll know that, hey, the green guy's here, the setup's here, and the reset's here. So that will standardize it a little bit. Now, remember the idea is these two are going to go back and forth, and they're going to bump into each other every once in a while. And when they do, that's a collision. We'll make a little noise or something. And then what we'll do is make them disappear, so it'll have the Fox will have a wide open channel to get to the star. So how do we do that? Well, we have to actually put in these blocks and so forth, and put in the correct blocks inside here. But we have to decide which one of these do we put the block that will detect the touching. And it doesn't matter, but you only do one. Don't do both. If you put blocks for touching in both of them, the computer gets very confused and very crazy things can happen. So let's do this here, and we'll have to make a block. So let's call it isTouch, O-U-C-H, H bar. All right. And we will click on that, and we have a definition, which we'll use in a while. But that's clearly going to go in here. So you're constantly going to be testing. Am I touching? Are we touching? Are we touching? Is it touching the H bar? Now we could say touching a color. That's another way to do it. But and maybe we'd do this, but you can actually test for the sprite. But now let's talk about move. We want this. Let's go to the H bar. Okay, now how are we going to move the H bar? We want it to go back and forth. And so, well, first of all, let's start him somewhere. Let's start about here, say. Okay, notice that says X87, Y28 or something like that. So let's put in the motion block, go to X, this is close enough, and reset. Now let's just click on that and see if that sets it. Yeah, it's pretty good. So if it was actually put it up here for some reason, it goes back there. So that's our starting point. Remember, you're always going to need a starting point. Now, we can stop this, and the question now will be, how are we going to move it? We only want it to move in X and Y. So instead of move, remember the move is forward and backward, and that depends upon the orientation. And really, I don't want to do that here. Let's do X and Y. So let's set X or change X. Well, let's just change X. If we change X by, say, 2, watch what happens. We click and go. It just goes and it keeps going forever, see, because it doesn't know about bouncing. So you might say if on edge bounce, but it turns out that in a lot of cases that doesn't work very well. And what you need to do is to use a detector. And see this touching thing up here way at the top? Touching mouse pointer, and you think maybe not useful, but touch the edge, touch the fox, touch the star, touch whatever. Anybody except themselves, of course. And so we'll say edge, touching the edge. And now we need an if to stick that in, right? So we do this, picks touching, and you see the light there. So we put that here. Now, then we would like to reverse it. So we can do that, but I think we need a variable, and you'll see why in a minute. I like using variables anyway, but okay, let's call this X step. And not for all sprites, just for this one. And we hit it, and notice it puts a little data up there so you can kind of see if it's working or whatever. Now we need to set it. Let's set it right at the beginning. And let's set it to 2 because we don't want to move. Let's be a sport and set it to 3. Okay. And now, if we do that, what happens when we touch the edge? Well, we want to change it. If it's plus 3, and by the way, now instead of here, put the X step here. So whatever this variable is, it's going to change X. Now, if we hit the edge, what do we want to do? What we really want to do is we want to reset it. So it's, and we need to set it to minus whatever it was before. And you can't do that. There's no way to set minus the variable unless you use an operator. And we've not done this before. And this might seem totally bizarre, but if you think about it, it makes sense. Now look what I'm doing. Putting the X here, and then I'll put a 0 here. Okay, put this here. Now what happens? This says if you touch the edge, you essentially, it's a reset. You set X to 0 minus what it was before. Sounds like a silly statement, but this is what you do. So if X is 2, it'll change it, or 3, it'll change to minus 3. If it's minus 3, it'll change it to plus 3. Let's give this a shot and see what happens. There it goes. Bonk. Keeps going over here. And now notice, look at the sign. See? It's 3 now because it's going 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Bang. Now it's minus 3, minus 3, minus 3, minus 3. It keeps going, and all of a sudden it'll hit here and it'll go plus 3. Okay? Cool, huh? All right. Now, basically, that's the game. So we're all set now for the H bar, but now we have to go to the V bar and do sort of the same thing, only it has to move up and down, and then we have to do a detection in there. So we'll do that. Okay? We'll see you for video number 2.